Assalamu alaikum students. Today we will solve exercise questions of chapter number 1. So let's start. The first question is encircle the correct answers from the given choices. Means MCQ's question. So the first question is the number of base units in SI are. So we know that base units, how many base units are there? There are 7 base quantities, so base units will also be 7. So the correct answer is 7. Next question is which one of the following unit is not a derived unit? Not a derived unit means point out the base unit. So we know that this kilogram is a base unit, as you can see in this table. This table shows a base unit, so kilogram is a base unit. Now next is amount of a substance in terms of numbers. So we amount of a substance in terms of numbers is measured in. So in terms of amount of substance in terms of number is measured in moles. So the correct option is moles. Now the fourth question is an interval of 200 microseconds is equivalent to. So we need to convert this 200 microseconds into a simple number. And we already know how we can convert this number into a simple number. Look at here. Now you can see 200 into 10 raised to power minus 6. Now this micro means minus 6. 10 raised to power minus 6. You can refer this table that micro is 10 raised to power minus 6. So now next step, convert this 200 into a simple scientific notation which can be written as 2 into 10 raised to power 2, and when we solve this 10 raised to power 2 and 10 raised to power minus 6, it will be 2 into 10 raised to power minus 4. So the correct option is 2 into 10 raised to power minus 4. So this is the correct option. Now next is which one of the following is the smallest quantity. Now remember the technique of solving this type of question, that you need to convert all these prefixes into a simple number. So the option A, you can see it is also in this option A is not in prefix form, so we do not change it or we do not solve it. Now what we will do, option B is 2 milligrams. Now you can see option B is 2 milligram. Milli means 10 raised to power minus 3, you can see on this table. So 2 into 10 raised to power minus 3, and 2 into 10 raised to power minus 3 when converted into a simple number, we know that we move this point from right to the left side. And how many points we move? We move 3 points because power is minus 3. So one of the digit is 2 and other digits we put 0, 0. So it will be 0.002 grams. Similarly 100 micrograms. Now micro means 10 raised to power minus 6. Okay, so 100 micro can be written as 100 into 10 raised to power minus 6. Now when this 100 is converted into a into scientific notation, it will be 1 into 10 raised to power 2 into 10 raised to power minus 6 for the micro. Now when we solve, it will be 1 into 10 raised to power minus 4. Now convert back this scientific notation into a simple number, it will be 0.0001 grams, because we move 4 points to the left side, from right to left side. Okay. Now next option is 500 nanogram. So this 500 nanogram can be converted into a simple number and it will become 0.005 0.0005 grams. Now you see all these options are in gram. This option in gram, this option is in gram, this is in gram, and this is in gram. Now you can easily compare which one is the smallest quantity. So this is the smallest quantity, 0.0005, or we can say option D is correct. 500 nanogram is the smallest quantity. Now next is, which instrument is the most suitable to measure the internal diameter of the test tube? So we know that to measure the internal diameter we use vernier caliper. So correct option is B, which is vernier caliper. Now next question is, a student claims the diameter of a wire as 1.02 centimeter, 1.032 centimeter using a vernier caliper. Up to what extent do you agree with it? So in this type of question, you need to look at the least count of the given measuring instrument. Now in this case, our given measuring instrument is vernier caliper, and the least count of the vernier caliper is 0.01. It is 0.01. So it's mean that we can measure up to 2 decimal before up to 2 points after decimal. So it's mean that option C is correct. It will be 1.03 centimeter. This cannot be verified. This 2 is not significant in this case because our measuring instrument or our vernier caliper cannot measure this value. So that is why we skip this value. The next is, measuring cylinder is used to measure. So we know that measuring cylinder is a volume measuring instrument. So it is used to find volume. Now let's see. A student noted a thickness of a glass sheet using a screw gauge. So remember, the instrument is a screw gauge. On the main scale, it reads 3 divisions. Now it's mean that it is a main scale reading, because each division on the main scale of the screw gauge is of 1 millimeter. So 3 divisions means 3 millimeter. So main scale reading is 3 millimeter. While 8th division of the circular scale coincide with the index line. Now we can use this information to find the circular scale reading. How? The 8th division is coinciding with the main scale, so we multiply this 8th division with the least count of the screw gauge, and the least count of the screw gauge is 0.01 millimeter. When 8 is multiplied with 0.01 millimeter, it will be 0.08 millimeter. So we got main scale reading and also circular scale reading. So to get a reading, we add these two values. So 3 plus 0.08, the answer will be 3.08 millimeter. So the correct option is B, which is 3.08 millimeter. Now last MCQs is, differentiate significant figures in an expression are. So according to definition, if you remember the definition, are accurately known digit and the first doubtful digit is called significant figure. So option C is correct, that all accurately known digit and the first doubtful digit is called significant figure. So this is how, these are the MCQs. Now let's move towards the theoretical questions. So first question is, what is difference between the base quantities and derived quantities? Now we will see the answers in this. We already know, we already studied about the base and derived quantities. So base quantities are those quantities on the basis of which other quantities are to be expressed. There are 7 in number, and these are length, mass, time. You can write only 3 examples: length, mass and time, because question demands only 3 examples. So you just write 3 examples. You don't need to write these other examples. Similarly, derived quantities are those quantities which on the basis of those quantities that are expressed in terms of base quantities are called derived quantities. And these are area, volume, speed. You can just write only three quantities. You don't need to write other quantities. So because question says only three examples. So this is the difference between the base and the derived quantities. Just write. Now question number 1.3 is pick out the base units from the following. Now we know that base units, there are 7 base units. The first one is a kilogram is a base unit. You can refer the table which is given in this lecture, or you can refer table from your book as well. Mole is a base unit, ampere is a base unit, meter is also a base unit, and Kelvin is a base unit, while coulomb, watt, hertz, Newton, joule, these are the derived units. So base units are kilogram, mole, ampere, meter and Kelvin. Now question number 1.4 is find the base quantities involved in each of the following derived quantities. Now we need to find base quantities. In this type of question, you must write its formula, and then by using this formula we find the base quantities involved in these derived quantities. So the first one is a speed. Now speed is defined as distance divided by time. As we know that distance is a length between 2 points, so it is a base quantity. So distance is a base quantity, and similarly time is also a base quantity. So from above equation we can say speed is a derived quantity and it has two base quantities, length of course because distance is the length between 2 points, and the time. Okay. Now volume is defined as volume equal to length into width into height. Now this width is also a length between 2 points and height is also a length. So it means that volume is a derived quantity and it is obtained by multiplication of a length. Now what is force? Force is defined as mass into acceleration. We know that mass is a base quantity while acceleration is not a base quantity, it is a derived quantity. So what we will do, we convert this acceleration. Now acceleration is defined as distance divided by time square. Now distance is a base, mass is a base, time is a base. So we come to know that force has three type of base quantities and it is obtained from mass, length and time. So three base quantities are involved in this in force. Now work is defined as force multiplied by distance. Distance is already base quantity because it is a length between 2 points, and force, in this you can see force is a mass distance divided by time square. So force is a mass distance divided by time square into distance. So we come to know that work is a derived quantity and it is obtained from mass, length and time. So again three base quantities are involved: mass, length and time. So this is how we can find base quantities from the derived quantities. We must know its basic formula. Now next question is estimate your age in seconds. For example, suppose that our we consider age is 15 years. So first of all we will find the total seconds in 1 year. As we know that total year, in 1 year we have 365 days. We have 365 days, and each day has 24 hours and each hour has 60 minutes and each minute has 60 seconds. So when we multiply this 365 days into 24 into 60 into 60, it will give us this value, which is unit 10, 100, 1000, 10,000, lakh, 10 lakh, crore. So it will be 3 crore 15 lakh and 36,000 seconds are there in 1 year. But we need to find in how many seconds are there in 15 years. So just multiply this number with the 15, it will give you the age in seconds. So this will be the answer. This is the age in seconds. Or you can alternatively you can solve this question in this way. It's up to you, students. You can use any of the method. This is the short method. You can use this method as well. The answer will be the same. The basic thing is you need to understand that how many days are there in 1 year. There are 365 days. Then each day has 24 hours and each hour has 60 minutes and each minute has 60 seconds. So when we multiply these, we get seconds, and then multiply this with your age, it will give you the your age in seconds. Okay. Now question number 1.6. What role SI unit have played in the development of science? So SI unit is the standard measurement system used in science and technology across the globe. It plays a very important role in the development of science because it is very useful, it is very helpful to exchange scientific and technical information at international level. For example, if we do not have these SI units, then in one region some physical quantities are measured in different units, and in some other region of the world these quantities are measured in some other units. For example, if mass in British is measured in pounds and mass measured in Pakistan is in kgs, so there is a difference between kg and a pound. So that is why to have a same unit across the globe, SI played a very important role to standardize the units. So this will be the answer, that why what role of SI have played in the development of science. It helps us to exchange and scientific and technical information at international level. Next question is, what is meant by Vernier constant? So the least count of a Vernier caliber is also called Vernier constant. So it means the least count of the Vernier caliber is also called Vernier constant, and it is defined as the difference between one small deviation on the main scale and one Vernier scale deviation, which is 0.1 millimeter. So this 0.1 millimeter is a least count of the Vernier caliber, and it is also called a Vernier constant. Okay. Now, what do you understand by zero error of the measuring instrument? Zero error, when zero of the movable scale does not coincide with the main scale, then instrument has a zero error. Now, what are movable scales and main scale? When we talk about the Vernier caliber or a screw gauge, we know that in Vernier caliber there is a Vernier scale which can be moved or which can be slide over the main scale, and similarly screw gauge have a circular scale which can rotate over the main scale. Now, when zero of line of the movable scale coincides with the zero line of its main scale, then there will be no zero error. But there will be a zero error if zero line of the moving scale, this moving scale may be a Vernier scale in case of Vernier caliber and a circular scale in case of screw gauge, then there is a zero error. It means that when zero line of the moving scale does not coincide with the zero of the main scale, then there is a zero error. So there are two types of zero error: positive zero error and negative zero error. We already explained these errors in screw gauge and Vernier caliber lecture. You can review these lectures for more detail. Now, question number 1.9 is, why the use of zero error is necessary in measuring instruments. So this is zero error. Zero error. So zero error is necessary in measuring instrument to obtain an extreme correct value. So to get an extreme correct value, because we know that in scientific calculation a very small value have a very great impact on the results. So it is necessary to check your measuring instrument for the zero error. For example, I will explain this point with the example that a vernier caliper, suppose there is a positive zero error of 0.07 centimeter, although it is a very small value, but when we observe a diameter of a cylinder, it will be 2.26 centimeter. Now if we ignore this zero error, then we take the value of a diameter of a cylinder to be 2.26 centimeter if we ignore this error. But if we include this error and apply a suitable correction, the diameter of a cylinder will be 2.19 centimeter. So there is a difference between these two values. So it means that it is necessary to take an account of a zero error in a measuring instrument, otherwise you cannot get an correct value. So this is all about today's lecture. We will discuss next question in the next lecture. Thank you very much, friends.